Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the version 2 of the TOPSKY F7X FPV goggles. This is in the camo color scheme. I think it also come in plain old black like the original ones did. They did make a few improvements from the first version, and I got the first version, but I never made a video because it was just so bad and I had so many problems like the fan. It couldn't keep remember your channel that you were on. This front faceplate was really terrible and had some sort of weird like wrap mechanism for the foam, and it would just fall off all the time. The DVR didn't work that great. Had all kinds of problems. They did fix a few things in this version. Not exactly thrilled about this, and to be honest, I wouldn't recommend buying this. It's too expensive. It's $377 last I checked on GearBest, and I think it was a nice try, but I don't think that for the money it's worth spending that amount of money. You might as well just get a pair of Fat Shark Dominator V3s. Now I told them that I wasn't going to give them a good recommendation on this, and they told me to not put a video out, but I don't care about that kind of stuff, so I'm making a video anyway for you guys. I hope you guys remember that when they stop sending me stuff. Anyway, so they did fix a few things. The fan is fixed, is not as noisy as before. The DVR at first was not working on mine. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't record reliably. And then they sent me a software update, and supposedly that fixed it. So now it does record. However, the bitrate is still, I think it's the same as before. It's a very low bitrate. It records at 1280 by 720. But the bitrate's like, I don't know, 6 megabits. It's worse than the Fat Shark DVR, so it's kind of pointless. You have very poor video. On top of that, the receiver isn't all that great. So it's not a diversity receiver. It's just a single receiver, and the channel show up on an OSD on your screen, and it's like really hard to find the channel you want. It's just difficult to describe, but it's just not, the user interface isn't improved at all. It's not that easy to use, but at least it remembers the channel you're on when you powered on the goggles. Before it didn't do that. The antenna that they provided is complete garbage. Don't use it. I used an Axie antenna on here, and I got somewhat usable reception, but it wasn't that great. A lot of breakup, obviously because it doesn't have diversity. I mean, compared to my Fat Shark goggles with, I think it was the Eachine Pro 58 with the Achilles firmware on it, that's got great reception. This obviously without having diversity, reception is no good. And yeah, it's just even with a good antenna, the reception is terrible. Now, as you know, the bay here is backwards, so the Fat Shark module is going upside down. However, I wasn't able to use either one of mine. I have an Ariel ACC RX 5808 and a Eachine Pro 58 module, and I can get them to kind of go in. The pins would sit down about halfway, but it couldn't get all the way in because the way the bay is shaped, the boards would rub up against the plastic on the top and bottom, and so it wouldn't go in all the way. And the first time I tried one of the modules, I was flying around and the module popped off. It just fell out. Which was kind of exciting because I ended up crashing. But yeah, I lost video, and so yeah, I stopped using the other modules because they wouldn't stay in the bay. They would just fall out because they couldn't go in all the way. The pins couldn't be seated all the way. So there's a problem with the whole design just needs to be fixed so that they can use other modules, and plus they need to put the pins on the right side where the module can go in the correct way instead of being in upside down. So they still have to fix that. Now, this little face mask thing does stay on better than before, but you can see here it's already popped out while I was just holding it. I have those little hooks here that will kind of hold it, but getting it back in is actually fairly cumbersome. Like I'm trying to put it in here now, and okay, now I got it, and it just pops right back out. So this is kind of annoying, and once one corner pops out like this, then the rest of it just comes out, and then getting this seated again is kind of a hassle. So they kind of improved it a little bit, but it's still basically still kind of broken. So this is kind of annoying. As you can see, you're trying to get back on is difficult. As you see here, I have some Fat Shark diopters in here. They're not the bays are not meant for Fat Shark diopters. You can see they're too large for the diopters are too small for the bay. So I just used some foam tape here and stuck it to the plastic on the bottom here. That worked for me. I was able to focus on the screen. Now the screens themselves have this blue, weird like tint to it, and yeah, I couldn't really get used to it. Everything was just shaded blue. And I did complain about that, and they said that they did that on purpose for some reason. I didn't understand the reason why. They said that their explanation was that if you're out in sunlight, that you won't see it as much. Well, there's no light leak with this mask the way it is, so I don't understand what the purpose of that would be to do it that way. So that explanation made no sense at all. In any case, the blue tint on the screen was pretty unacceptable, so that's another reason why I can't recommend these goggles. Anyway, the bottom line is, it's a usable goggle. I mean, if you had absolutely nothing else, you could get by and fly with these. However, for the price, there's just no way I could say that it's worth it. If these were, say, maybe $100 to $150, I'd say, okay, yeah, you could probably hack this bay here and cut up the plastic and get a module in here and get decent reception. Yeah, you could probably live with the blue tint on the screen. That's not so great. But at $377, there's no way I would spend that amount of money on this goggle. So that's really my bottom line on this. No point in talking about this anymore. But if you guys are interested, I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, my recommendation is to wait for version 3 and see what that's like, because version 2 isn't all that much better than version 1. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you appreciate this review. If you do, leave me a like and a comment below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.